The American Cancer Society estimates more than 10,000 children under the age of 15 will be diagnosed with cancer this year. And although 80% of patients are expected to survive at least 5 years, a new detailed analysis of the DNA of more than 1,100 children is beginning to shed light on one of medicine's most perplexing mysteries. Why do children get cancer? Joining us to discuss the findings is Wall Street Journal health reporter Ron Winslow. Ron, great to see you. Thanks for being here. So what did the researchers at St. Jude's Children's Hospital find out recently?
Well, they found out that that about 1 in 11, or 8.5%, of childhood cancers are associated with a genetically or an inheritable mutation in a gene. The expectation was, I think, that this was a much lower number. So it's, even though it's only, it's still less than 10%, it's a much bigger number than people thought. And it looks like doctors tell me it will kind of change thinking among pediatric oncologists how they approach this disease.
So this points to a genetic link.
Correct.
Okay. So how important is it to have both tumor and normal tissue analyzed?
Well, it's important because you can actually find out which mutations might be turned on, or which defects might be turned on in the tumor tissue versus normal tissue, which would enable you to, which would give you some more, I don't know if assurance is the right word, but anyway, a little more notion that a mutation in that setting would be perhaps responsible or contributing to the cancer.
And now, how will this information change, or hopefully change, the way cancer in children is tracked and treated? Can it lead to some sort of preemptive findings before the cancer metastasizes? Well,
that's a lot of this is going to be a lot of stuff that will need to be studied. You think of getting, of inheriting a mutation. So why don't my parents, one of my parents had cancer? In some cases, that is the case. But in many cases, the discovery of cancer in the family was actually made through an identification through this DNA test in these patients. So among other things, then one patient, or one parent that I talked to, her son was diagnosed with a genetically inherited, with a mutation-driven cancer. Mm-hmm. Her daughter was then tested, and she also had the mutation, probably something that wouldn't have been discovered. So now they are both, brother and sister are now on a very regular monitoring schedule. The daughter didn't have any tumors. She was 4 or 5 now. She hasn't had any cancer, but now maybe they will track that, and if they can detect it early, the hope, and there's no assurance in this either, but the hope would be that maybe they could do something more preemptive and prevent it from being.
Is there any way of figuring out what triggers the mutation? I mean, obviously just having it isn't enough to develop the cancer. So is there a way of finding how it would actually get triggered?
Well, I think that's another thing that they will, that they'll want to know. For instance, one of the doctors that I talked to said to me, perhaps the father had a mutation in the cancer that didn't affect him. So even though he was carrying a gene that predisposed him and his child to cancer, it didn't affect him, so you wouldn't expect it in the baby necessarily. But maybe there was some other genetic anomaly, or something that the baby also got from the mother, that triggered it, that wouldn't have triggered it in any other setting. So it's one of these things, the more we learn about the genomics and how they affect our lives, the more the mystery gets. It's really kind of fascinating, and I think laying the groundwork for more research that people think will really help better manage and better detect and better treat these diseases.
Absolutely. Ron Winslow, thank you for telling us about these significant findings.
Glad to be here. Thank you.